the melody of my escape, vibration on my soul, it sends me to the peak. Can't we find any light without the music around? There will always be one love, one life.
One door closes and another door would open itself rather quickly. I've done now approximately 10 to 11 one-on-ones on Overwatch. And so I think I have gathered enough information to appropriately put together a general assessment of what I've noticed in this new arena of sorts, and what are good things and what are bad things in potentially wanting to continue this new venture in sustaining one-on-ones and trying to expand my options in the online universe. While generally not an Overwatch player in any way, shape, or form, it seems so far that I can potentially keep up with a lot of very great and promising players that are on Overwatch who are generally only Overwatch players. So there is some merit to this. So let me go over some potential pros and cons that I've noticed so far. First thing I've noticed so far is character preferences. Barring a lot of different opponents that I've seen in both comp, casual, and the very few in the selective one-on-one arena, everybody seems to have a very unique selection or preference of characters that they always rely on most, that doesn't conflict with their playing style or doesn't conflict with the playing styles of those around them that are on their team. Something that you'll generally only see them being associated with. Like a main, like maining a specific character only, or a set of characters. I do notice, however, that those that invest longer periods of time into playing this game are at vastly higher levels, and in a sense are also a lot more versatile, and so would not be tied down to the facets of a small handful of characters, but rather be open-minded into the preference of using all the characters presented, or if not, the majority to where it's almost all of the characters presented on the roster to utilize. But even those that are not accustomed to a certain character can always be very surprising, so results can vary. Point 2 I've noticed. The one-on-one option, while it is there, not everybody actually cares to explore it. And it's what I found out in terms of just normally playing the game. As much as I'd like to take the more ballsy road and just say, hey, do you want a one-on-one? Hey, do you want a one-on-one? Hey, do you want a one-on-one? Which, honestly, it's really what I only like about playing the game for the most part, if it's not comp. It's very desperate and needy. And the key thing here on the flip side of this is that other players, while very skilled in various other game modes that are presented, are not going to opt for this. Not so much because they aren't good at them, but also because there are those that honestly do not seek any type of benefit, personally or universally, in a private 1 versus 1. I can meet dozens and dozens of different players online in Overwatch that talk about many different facets of updates that have happened between comp play, or hero updates, or control favorability and preferences, or select characters like Junkrat or Doomfist or Mercy or Moira in terms of their general updates, and many other continually updated facets about the general norm in Overwatch online gameplay. However, I don't hear any, if at all, regarding just general one-on-one protocol for its own type of favoritism in the community, or however it is associated in the Overwatch community as its own norm, if it is a norm. The meaning of one-on-ones does vary with person to person, just like the meaning of doing comp or casual does vary from person to person. And the gameplay presents something that is there for everybody. So I could generally meet somebody who's good in comp, like insanely good at comp, or can be a monster in casual, but does not know jack squat about how to do something in a private mode where you're restricted from running for health when you want to, or having a restriction on health regain or abilities that can also promote health regenerative abilities in order to keep tabs on being a step ahead of your opponent consistently or environmentally, depending upon how aware or how fast of a reaction time you may have. Also, there are those that have the mindset of not interest in this area because they see no honest benefit to a 1 versus 1, such as there really being no gain to it, when in the bigger picture this is quite the contrary, as much can be gained from a 1 versus 1 outline in terms of an improved sense of environmental awareness for your own right, for your team's sake, better sense of aim and no scoping, since they don't allow you to actually ADS half the time unless there are actual specific guns that demand aiming down sights, such as Widowmaker and potentially Soldier and Anna. And it boosts a sense of survivability and awareness around you, so that way you can last longer without needing to go run for health or run for a med kit somewhere in order to restock your health. You can be more aware and more in tune with your environment to know how to react and how to respond and make the most of what you have presented in order to make it stretch before you need to run anywhere. Another factor I've noticed with a lot of different maps as it goes from map to map to map, including updated maps, is that the health packs or med kits are generally sprinkled around the battlefield, but there's not that many of them that are present to actually find. There's only like maybe 3 or 4, possible 5 to each map, and they're all scattered across the map. Not all of them are close to the objective or where the objective line is. And so you kind of have to make these things stretch for as long as you're able to. This is where having a better sense of survivability or a more in-tune survival instinct can kick in. That way you don't have to go for it as quickly, especially if you have a lackluster medic on your team. While I do get bothered at times that not everybody who's really good at playing this game is confident enough or willing enough to want to do a one-on-one, then I can respect their wishes and I can move on to the next objective at hand. So be it I can ask somebody else or inquire somebody else. Might not be as good in my opinion or in other people's opinions, depending upon perspective, obviously, but I will seek some type of satisfaction as I can. Next observational point here is the rate of pending excuses. I've also noticed that people do want to try and steer away from this unique area of confrontation because it will also be relevant to how good that they truly may be playing the game, or how they actually are playing the main characters that they use so much, or that you always see them playing the most, or whatever it is they clock in the most time for in playing this game. It's the character that you go right towards and that you boast about. And so pending excuses or boasting is an observation I've noticed, because there's a lot of cancerous observations that probably could be stated but won't be stated, because again, it comes down to how you feel about your character and how you feel about how you're playing the game, even if you're doing it right or if you're doing it wrong, or if you're not even doing any damn thing at all. I don't give a damn. I just want my match so I can get back to Rainbow. But we can't get here because we gotta trample across the bridge of excuses. And what I do to that is I cry myself a river, build myself a bridge, and I get over it. Because there's no need to give excuses. You're either good at what you love to do or you ain't good at all. You're one of those guys that just stays in the back and is always supporting people. You're not trying to go balls deep and go into the front of the thing. It's like, I'm gonna get my own kills. No, I'm gonna steal my kills, and then I'm gonna take credit for it later. Psst. Another point I noticed was about host and connection relevance can also conveniently tie into one or both people's favor or disadvantage. And I've taken the time to try and weigh this carefully to determine whether or not if the host can make a difference in the match. And in some cases that I've noticed, between doing casual mode or in doing deathmatch that they have over here, or in doing the OBJ where you're moving the objective back and forth from point A to point B once you get the payload, I've noticed that the host sometimes can make a difference due to stability of using set character or characters. I have yet to see this in any 1 versus 1 private mode that I've been trying to conduct in my own free time, and I'm trying to go back and forth across Overwatch relevant channels during my free time when I'm out in real life doing things. I just try and skim whenever I can, it is on my laptop or however it is, in order to try and come across other channels out there, other people that may potentially be doing one-on-ones or are exploring this area, just to see if my hunch is correct about whether or not the host can make or break these things. Because I've seen the host make and break this stuff in other games that I've seen where I've trebled into the 1 versus 1 venture, where a host can make and break all the difference in who gains the upper hand and who sustains the upper hand. And another option I've noticed is just the availability of whether or not people really take the time to want to venture into such a unique element that's offered in the Overwatch experience. It's something that I'll be exploring more of to take a look into. I don't see it on anybody else's channels in order to try to give me an idea on what to do or how to do what. I'm sure there's forums out there that explain how to win mystery duels or how to keep winning, but that's from one person's perspective. One person's perspective doesn't win it for everybody, or it doesn't do it for everybody, because everybody plays the game differently. And if everybody plays the game differently, then everybody does everything differently. They don't do it in the same way, even if you spell it out for them bit by bit in order to give them the clues. You can lead a camel to water, but you can't make it drink. Just like you can lead the biggest noob of all time to veteran class knowledge, but damn if they know how to use it. Outside the lot of this, I'm not entirely sure how everything here will come together, but I'm slowly trying to amass the pieces, and then I'll figure the rest out as I go. Alright, I see that there was a post on GameFAQs.com regarding the whole thing about one-on-ones, if there was some people that were good or bad about it, doing one-on-ones. That was made about a year or so ago on the message boards. So, I'll start from there. Outside this one post, I don't see anybody else actually bringing up the whole facet of one-on-ones or whatever it is offered in the Overwatch gameplay regarding one-on-ones or private mode, mystery duels, deathmatch, what have you. So that's a place where I will start. I'll just make my post on GameFAQs and then try to be as thorough as possible and state my case. And just say, I'm just into doing one-on-ones. I play Overwatch predominantly for one-on-ones since I can't do comp. Since everybody's at a higher level than me in competitive play, then I do one-on-ones because I can have one-on-ones with anybody. And I've proven I can match with plats, golds, and grandmasters, so why not do something with that? And see what I can do to say something that's different about me so that way I'm not another Overwatch player. And genuinely, I'm not an Overwatch player since I don't play it like that. I only play it like once in a blue moon. And when I do play it, I try to play rather interesting activities that occupy my time, such as... And then I will see how the community welcomes the idea, and I'll work it out from there. Because since not a lot of people talk about it, then I'll make it something that I talk about, and something that I want it to be associated with me, because it's what I seek from the gameplay right now, that I take satisfaction in, and that I find fun. If nobody else finds fun, I find it fun. Feel free to weigh in your thoughts down below. Any questions, comments, or concerns, y'all already know where to reach it. Take care, and hey, till all are one, right?